and welcome to Two Movie Guys and a Girl. We're at the Brooklyn premiere. Let's see what interviews we can get. We really enjoyed the movie. We saw it this morning.
Did you cry?
Well, I'm really weird. I don't cry in movies, but it did make me well up quite a lot.
Okay,
so that's a really good achievement. That's a good thing.
Good.
So the first question, just a simple one. How did you initially get attached to the movie?
I read the book and absolutely loved it. Wasn't sure straight away whether it was a movie because it's quite an internal book and she's like seemingly passive. And I thought, how do you dramatise that? So I thought about it for a while and I knew it was going to be expensive. Period. 2 countries. So we're getting around that. And there were very few actresses of the right kind of age who would finance the movie. So I thought about it for about a year actually, and then I was in New York and I saw it in a bookstore and I thought I must check on the rights because I'd kind of over time, it really stayed with me. I'd probably bought like 50 copies for friends and I had kind of could see how you might do it. And totally randomly that weekend I met Colm and we got on so well, and they were in negotiation with other people. They turned down lots of people, and but he said at the end of our lunch, if you want it, it's yours. So it was like totally meant to be.
Finola came back to London to say, you've got to read this book now because I actually think we can get the option.
Got it, yeah.
When she first met Colm, they didn't talk about the option at all. Everything talked about art and music, and I can't remember whatever you talked about.
Yes, we were introduced, but I didn't realise. I didn't realise it was Colm. I thought it was American, and he didn't know who I was. We had this great conversation about the best kept secret in New York that he told me about. And then my friend said, "Oh, did you ask him? Did you ask him if the rights were still available?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't realise that was him." So yeah, I came across as a very cool and together producer.
Yeah. So you've got such a cool career. Like we loved Place Beyond the Pines when it came out a couple of years ago.
Thank you.
Completely different role, really.
Yeah.
What attracted you to this one? It's much more kind of romance.
Well, I mean, that was a lot to it. It was a love story. I hadn't done a love story. It was a character who brought the hope and brought the light and wasn't, punching guys in the mouth. It was something my mom would like.
Yeah.
And also, I wanted to explore my craft further, and I wanted to showcase that further. I didn't want to get locked into a place where I was just playing tough guys.
Yeah.
After this comes out, I don't want to get locked into a place where I'm playing a bunch of pretty boys. So it's always about that balance for me.
Cool, and you've got such a chemistry with Saoirse Ronan as well. How did you make it work? Was it down to John, or was it just natural chemistry? What was the main process?
It was a mix of, we both respected each other's work. We both liked working with each other in rehearsal. John really kind of just let us be. John would come up to us individually, but it was never a collective thing, so we always were forced to find that little edge in the scene together. And I think that had a lot to do with it, is that there's many times, at least where I'd look to her, and I don't know if she felt the same way, where it was like, I don't know what I'm doing right now, but that's who I got, is her. And that's a lot like what the characters feel. They don't know what they're doing, but they have each other.
Cool, and so last thing, what do you think audiences should take away from this movie after seeing it? What's the main thing that you'd want them to take away from it?
I think at the end they're just gonna think, man, Eilis was right.
Yeah.
That's it.
So firstly, how did you get involved in the movie? Just initially, what was the first step?
Initially, I went in to meet the lovely Fiona Weir. Just got, they're doing Brooklyn, and I was like, Brooklyn is a fabulous book by Colm Tóibín. This Brooklyn, and then it was Nick Hornby's doing the adaptation. This is getting better. Saoirse Ronan's playing the main. I was like, gee, this is getting good. So yeah, I went in read for it with Fiona and John, and yeah, well, I met Fiona first of all, and then I met John.
Yeah.
And luckily, I just really felt something for Nancy.
Yeah.
Nancy just was very well put together, and I understood her.
Did you find a personal connection with the character just from,
Absolutely, but I think a lot of people will watch, and anybody who's, even you can be Nancy.
Yeah, I could be Nancy.
Anybody who's ever gone into dance and thought, really fancy him, hope he talks to me, or and as well that relationship of your best friend, and also moving on through life, and
And on
being
that
sneaky.
Fact, and on that fact, how is it working with Saoirse? Like, you have great chemistry in it, so.
We're very good friends.
Yeah.
We're very good friends. I'm nearly hoarse today because we talked for 12 hours straight the other day. It's quite an achievement, really, isn't it? I shouldn't tell people that. Do a lot of talking.
Was that the same on the set as well?
We hit it off. I just said to Fiona, the casting director, this evening, I said, you can find all my friends. She's brilliant. Her energy is electric. She is, I cannot speak more highly about that girl. She is, obviously she's phenomenally talented, but she's so down to earth. And I'm very, very lucky to have her as such a good friend. I'll do absolutely anything for her. But I'm really worried she can hear me. Sorry, I can't really talk with Saoirse, get a little emotional. I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of her.
How involved were you with the production of the movie?
No involvement at all. I wanted Nick Hornby to write the screenplay. I was wise enough, and he knew I was wise enough to leave him alone completely to do that.
Yeah.
Not calling up, not emailing, saying, "Oh, there's something I really want. How are you doing? How are you getting on? How are you getting on?" In other words, I didn't see the screenplay until he had written 2 drafts of it. When I saw 2 drafts of it, I met him to thank him, but also to make one tiny suggestion, which was that in Ireland we don't ever say mummy.
Right, okay.
We say mammy. If you look at the film, I don't know if you noticed it, mammy. And he said, "Do you really?" I said, "Yeah, we do that." So that was the only, I think, and one other tiny Irishism.
Okay.
But otherwise, the job of the novelist is to stay home, get on with your next book, but not interfere with anything. And then eventually they showed me the film, and so I did all the work they did. I didn't have to do, but it was to the end. It was just great.
And on top of that, how would you feel? Because Saoirse's great in it. How did she fulfil the role for you? Obviously, being so connected to the work yourself.
I think that she is at exactly the age. And if you're Irish, everybody knows it. Where everyone Irish, as you know, London's filled with us, you know, and so is Australia, so is Canada. Everyone Irish goes away at some point. And the initial visit, it doesn't matter whether it's, you can send email or you can do Facebook, you're still away from home. It's a Monday night at 7 o'clock and you're not in your own country. You're trying to make your new life. And at the beginning it's hard. And then suddenly you meet new friends and you suddenly forget about home. And you make a new person of yourself. And I think it's something that's very close to her. She's very close to that age, and it's very close to that experience. You know, as a person. So she, in a way, is acting out something that belongs to her, and it's great to have provided her with this role.
When people leave the movie and the book, what is the main message that you think people will take away from it?
I think that for everyone young, that experience has to happen, that year in their lives. And we must remember that that's happening a lot now to people coming into Europe, coming into America, coming in from various places, that it's not easy. And then it's wonderful making your new life in a new place. So it's not exactly a message, you know, it's a drama.
So you haven't done that many romantic movies recently. So what's different about this movie and what attracted you when you came to do it?
Mostly because I found it profoundly moving for a start, rather than romantic. That was the thing. The romance is a byproduct of the drama in a way, and it's very nice that it's there. But it was never quite what we were shoving to the fore, because I think if you just went after that, it wouldn't work. What's interesting is you see her go through an awful lot of pain first on her way, and there's a lot of laughter around that as well. But it's a lot of loneliness before the romance flourishes, and then just like double-decker buses, you know, as soon as one comes along, 2 comes along. So then she has a choice between 2 men.
Set in the time period, you really get the essence of that through both the filmmaking and everything. How did you go about to really make it feel like it's set in the 50s?
Well, we did an awful lot of careful research. I had a great costume designer in O'Deal, and a great designer, Francois Seguin, great DP, Yves Belanger. And with them around, you know, we would really carefully do our homework. But I would always say, like, I'm really sorry, I think we need to throw it away then, you know, which is to be very light with it. And the scenery never took precedent, or the art direction never took precedent over the face.
So you were awesome in this movie, saw it this morning, you're so good in it. Just initially, had you read the book, and how did you get attached to this project? What made you want to be in this film?
I had read it a couple of years before I even heard about the screenplay, and and then the script came to me, and I had been looking out for the right Irish project for a while, but I didn't want to do something just for the sake of it, you know. And then this came along, and you know, it's one of the best scripts I've ever read. It's adapted from an incredibly well-written book by a man who writes women so well. And all of the characters, not just Eilis, are interesting, and they're funny, and they're heartfelt and sincere, and that usually makes a good story. So yeah, and as it went on, then when I moved away myself, and then when we actually made the film during that time, it just meant a great deal more. So my love for it has just grown and grown, really.
Well, it's really good, so thank you
so much.